Hello, hello. Hopefully, hopefully we have good mic here. I'm still figuring this out, just so you all know. All right. Can everybody hear me okay? Let's see. I think we got YouTube going and Facebook, if I did everything right. So if you guys let me know if you can hear me okay, we will get her going. I'm going to go ahead and pull up, I've got the YouTube chat on the computer, and I'm going to see if I can pull up the Facebook while we're doing this. This is our third live stream in a row, third Thursday. All right. I think I need to mute. Okay. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm going to pull it up here, and then we will get started. I don't want to waste you guys' time. Let's see, how do we get to... There we go. Let's see if I can hear myself. Testing, testing. All right, I can hear me. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Get the chat on. All right, today, everyone, we are going to turn some Cholla pen blanks. Now, I teased you guys a little bit last week with Tim was going to turn a bowl or maybe do some skew work, and he actually had to leave to pick up a kid, so no big deal. There we go. I wonder why I can't see my... Sorry guys, I'm still learning. Anyway, so Tim will not be able to turn this week, hopefully next week. And if he does, it'll be really cool because he'll turn a bowl. It'll be a small bowl, probably a little mesquite or something. But I'll be able to run the cameras while he's doing it. So if you guys have questions, we should be able to get them a little easier than going through me trying to watch multiple screens here. So that will hopefully be next week. And as always, if you have any questions or comments and I don't get to them, you can always email, call, whatever. I do try to go back and read them if I can and answer them. However, I did notice last week that the comments on YouTube, once the stream ended, I couldn't see them anymore. So I saw it on the screen when I walked over to turn it off. But once I ended the stream, they went away. So if you all know how to make that happen, to where I can see them longer, let me know. Because I wanted to answer you guys' questions, but I didn't get to do it. So I apologize. So if you had anything last week, definitely feel free to ask it today or some other time. Goodness gracious. I think I never used this before. Where is the live? There it is. All right, there we go. All right, finally got the comments up. Everybody looks like you can hear me loud and clear. Excellent, excellent. Okay, we're gonna get going here. So I always talk with people in the store here and online. But I need that. About Cholla, and the reason being is being in Arizona, Cholla is a great thing to have available either for gifts or for sale because it's a desert plant obviously and people love it. Diana, if you're listening or can hear me, will you bring me a piece of Cholla or one of those bags of Cholla? Cholla is a cactus. It's a cool skeleton-y cactus. And we can cast it in resin and fill it in and it looks really cool. Now, this is a cast piece obviously. You've got the skeleton in there, and then this one has blue and copper and looks like red and orange maybe. But you can do any color. In Arizona, I like to do turquoise and copper. Looks awesome, and it's kind of like Arizona colors. Boy, I'll tell you, this live stream thing is great because if they're listening, they can hear me. Diana, you want to wave? That's the camera there.
Oh.
Diana, everyone, she's going to do a demo sometime in the near future. So this is Cholla skeletons. We usually have some bags of it here because people like to cast it, or if they're visiting, they want to get something from Arizona. This is a great choice. Diana? Good catch.
Thanks.
So that's what it looks like before, and then this is what it looks like after it's been cast, and it makes a really cool pen. It's a really cool material because it's a wood full of air, obviously the air pockets and the holes, but it's actually a really dense, good wood. It's really typically fairly hard unless it's rotten or something. So it turns really easy. The only problem is it's got huge holes in it. So that's why we cast it. Now you can stabilize it. You can color it when you stabilize it if you want. I rarely stabilize it. It turns so well that I just don't need to. So I don't. And I've had very few problems because of it, so that's a good thing. But it's really cool material. It's very Arizona. It's very Southwest. I was telling somebody the other day when I did a lot of art shows, I always had a bunch of Cholla pens and a bunch of rattlesnake pens because that's very Arizona. And you'll hear it called Cholla or Chula. Cholla's probably the most common because it's C-H-O-L-L-A, Cholla, but it's Cholla. So it's everywhere, and there's skeletons everywhere. I think you're allowed to pick it up as long as it's not, you know, a live plant. So it's no big deal. So let's get going here. Again, any questions, if you're just coming in, throw them out there. I'll try to see them, and if I can't see them, I'll try to get them right after the stream. I'm going to be turning with a carbide, a Easy Wood Mini. Probably my favorite tool that I use the most. Probably 9 times out of 10 I grab this particular tool. I did replace the insert, so if you were watching a couple weeks ago, right before I went on the live stream, I dropped it and basically chunked off like a third of each side of the one corner, and it was turning like crap. It was broken and dull, and I didn't want to stop like and have everybody sitting here and go get a new one. So I ended up grabbing a round tool and it worked fine. But I'm fresh insert here, so this should be really nice turning. Hey, my mom's on. Hi, Mom. I'm gonna see my mom tomorrow. That's cool. All right, so I'm gonna turn between center. This is a Zen tube, by the way. It's a little bit longer. It's nice because it shows off a lot of the pen, or a lot of the wood and the resin. So if I did something shorter, obviously I'd just waste a bunch of material. I'm gonna turn between centers, TBC, and we have been recently moving a lot of stuff around. So I couldn't find my Zen TBC bushings. So I just grabbed some regular TBC that I had in a tube and some adapters so I can turn TBC. So these we get a lot of questions on. All these adapters do is turn your regular bushings into TBC bushings. And then you can put them on the 60-degree cone and your live center, and you are good to go. I like TBC a lot because it's more, I feel it's more precise, it's more balanced. Let's see what else. I don't know, I just like it better. I think it's better. So whenever I can, I turn TBC. So that is ready to go. And I'm turning on the record power lathe again. This has been my go-to lathe for a while now. Probably, when did we get these? Last June or July. And I still love the Laguna 1216. I use it all the time, but if this one's open and no one's on it, I come to this one. Especially for other stuff other than pens, because I can pivot the head and I don't get the pain in my back. So that wasn't supposed to be a commercial, but it sounded like it. But it is a great machine. All right, so we got my mom on. We got Peter here in town. John, good to see you. We will get started here. And first thing I'm going to do with this square tool is just rough this thing out. And I could use negative rake here. It certainly wouldn't hurt anything. I just don't need it. So I'm going to use my rougher. And it is a radiused insert. If you're not familiar with carbide tools, they come straight, square, and radiused. And radiused are a lot easier to use. They're a lot more forgiving. The straight, square, you're more likely to get a catch if you have any kind of movement side to side. So you just want to be a little more skilled, I guess, with those. So I recommend if you get a carbide rougher and you're new to it, or even if you're not new to it, it's just easier, get the R2, the radiused edge, and it's a lot nicer. All right, let's start here. And I'm gonna turn this thing, the record power here goes up to 4,000. I'm gonna start this at 2,500, well, 2,700, just to get it round. And I'm gonna kind of give myself a little angle here. And of course you could rough this with a gouge. If you prefer to rough with a gouge, do it. Let me see if I got one here. Perfect pen turning gouge. It's no big deal. Wow, that made really quick work of that. Not recommended for pens, but it works. That was the point. So I'm just going to turn this off. I just want to get it round first. Wow, that gouge really turned it down quick. All right, now that I've got it a little more round, I'm going to up my speed. So now I'm 3,300. All right, Mr. Alborough, feel free to make any comments. Also, I have 2 items for you to pick up. So, oh boy, he's already starting with those jokes. Come pick up your items whenever you're free. Throwing chips all over my phone here. So you may have noticed, I don't know if the camera picked it up, but I was turning really good ribbons there, like these, and then all of a sudden there was some dust and some little wood chips that mixed in, and that's when I got the blank a little more round and I was actually starting to hit the Cholla. So let's take a look at it. And you can see the wood now starting to be exposed. Michael, you ready? This is the exposed wood here. And then there's your colors. So it's just like any cast blank. You don't know how the inside's going to be and how the swirls are going to be, but it looks pretty cool once you get in there. So it's really kind of fun to see. And look at that. It's kind of cool. The blue goes along the wood and then the red's on the outside. So when we keep going and get down in there, who knows how that's going to look. Let's find out. Again, this is a Zen. Zen's a nice long pen. Man, this new insert is like cutting butter. You can see a little bit of dust building up here. That's the Cholla finally. Cutting ribbons. So you can see the progression here. You've got wood and then resin up here. So when I was cutting it, the resin was throwing further. All right, let's see what it looks like. Very good, very good. All right. Oh yeah, that's looking real cool. This blank, so I wish I knew who cast this blank. I forget. It was on my shelf to turn for probably a year or more. Somebody gave it to me. I'm like 99% sure somebody gave it to me, but you never know. I could have cast it and just don't remember, but somebody else gets credit for it. I just don't know who. So I'm sorry. It is looking good though. I am going to be turning more blanks. People send me blanks all the time to check out and turn, so I'm going to try to do more of that on the live stream here, just because it's kind of fun to see new work. Sometimes it'll be stuff we carry, sometimes not. Get the ring off the end here. All right. So we're getting closer. Oh, I can up my speed. So normally I'd be pretty close to the max on the other lathe, but now I can go up to 3,900 here. Oh, there we go. We got a couple questions. Michael, love me some Cholla. Steven, you've been doing some amazing casting. I would love to see your Cholla. All right, let's go. Alrighty, let's take a peek here. Alright. Oh yeah, this thing's cool. So I'm hoping, and I don't know because you just never know, I'm hoping to get through some of this resin and expose more Cholla, because I'd rather have it be Cholla all the way around, or at least most of the way. I've got about, I don't know, a little more than 1/8 of an inch on each side to go down. So I'm hoping we get some more Cholla exposed. That was the wrong camera. I don't think you guys want to stare at me. Alright, I'm going to stop this. And I'm actually going to take a look at the YouTube comments real quick, see if I can answer any questions. Alright, alright. If you guys are wanting Cholla, we do have some bags here for sale. I don't know that they're on the website, they're just online, or in our store, but message us and we can put them on the website for you. Yep. Somebody asked about taps. The taps will be back in stock soon, and they will be the same price as they are now for the near future. Everything is going up. I don't know if you guys have been noticing, but like I just found out today resin is going up again. Shipping everywhere has gone up, and UPS and USPS are going up again. So, all right, check it out. I should have rolled this. We almost have Cholla all the way around. We just have one little spot of resin only here. So I'm going to keep rolling. And that will, by the time I get there, because I got a little bit more, it will totally expose the Cholla. This is water, not spit. Don't worry. I just got a drink. But this will kind of show you what it's going to look like. The Cholla wood has a lot of really cool grain in it. So if you're thinking it's just plain wood, give it a shot and you might be really surprised. I really love it almost looks like, not like in a gross way, but it almost looks like muscle tissue, like there's like striations and lines and stuff, and it looks really cool. Back on 3,900 RPM. Oh, and somebody was asking me last week after the stream, we do have the Herald lathes in stock. I think we have 6 of these right now. So if you're interested in a Herald, give me a call. But yeah, we do have them in stock because there was quite a wait in the beginning coming from England. So I'm just getting my ends right with my bushings here. So funny story, I've been doing a lot of knife making, and I've been looking for an anvil, a bigger anvil than the one I have. So I went to this like antique mall because I heard they had a bunch of anvils there, and they did. But I ran into a friend who was there. I guess you'd call it antiquing. He was antiquing in secret, and I found him there, and you know, he was a little embarrassed because he wasn't the type you would think was an antiquer, but I told him, I was like, look, you know, we're friends. Your antiquing is your business. I'm gonna keep it private. So I never told anyone that he was antiquing, but he seems to really love antiquing, and you know, it's cool that he does. It doesn't bother me. To each their own, right? But the bad news, like aside from like discovering my antiquing friend, was I didn't get a good anvil because they were way overpriced and they were total junk. So yeah. And I mean, there's worse things to be than an antiquer, you know. If you're into antiquing and you're like a middle-aged guy, like it's cool, like it's nothing to be ashamed of. I actually really dig old stuff. I'm always out hunting old stuff. Alright, we're getting close, people. I just got to clean up all my messy cuts. I'm going to make a nice smooth pass here, especially with this new carbide. Alright, feels pretty good for my rookie year. Alright, let's see what this looks like. You guys ready? The reveal. hey, it looks pretty good. It came through a lot. There's a little bit of just resin there, but it actually looks cool. And looks like I've got maybe a little hole or something right there. I don't know, but it's not bad. I'm just a tiny, like barely a bit proud of the bushing. So I'm going to go ahead and I like to rotate the bushings on the pen. And then I'll finish turning that micro amount. I don't know that rotating the bushings or rotating the blank on the bushings does anything. It's one of those things that I just do and it seems to help, so I do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. That old thing. All right, we got a couple questions. What camera's source switcher am I using? I'm using a little Blackmagic mini switcher right here that I switch the cameras with. And I'm using some Canon camcorders. And that sounds very simple, but it took me like a month to get it all set up because of running all the cables. Like you gotta have enough cable to reach from that camera to the switcher to that camera and whatever, but it was kind of a pain. But now it's working good thanks to the help of Zach Higgins and Chris that works here. He's a stream guy, so that worked. Yes, Michael, Amy does know I'm always out hunting old stuff. That's why I go gold mining, even though I never find any gold. Let's see. So anyway, this is looking good. I'm going to finish turning it right now. So this will be my last pass, which that's terrible to say. And I'm only turning it a little more because I'm going to do a CA finish on it. Feels pretty good, and I think as long as it looks good, we'll leave it there, as long as I don't have any lines. Michael, if you're interested, we could trade for some antiques, if you know what I mean. Yeah, this is looking pretty cool. I'm very pleased with the way that looks. Once we get some CA on it, it's going to brighten it all up too, because it's bright colors. Now, real quick, should I do the CA on this or turn the next one? Because I've actually got a junior to turn as well in a different color, Cholla and resin combo. So, what do you guys say? CA this one, or no? I'm going to turn the other one because then I have to switch everything for water and all that. So I'm going to put this aside. And I'm going to get out my bushings. All right. So, junior bushings. You've got a cap and a body. It's easy on the cap because they're the same. We'll do the cap first. The body is tapered, so you have two different bushings on the body. And again, if you know this, I'm just, for anyone who hasn't turned a junior. It's backwards, it's British. All right. Now this is one of our Greg McConnell blanks here that we have at Turner's. Greg is an Arizona native and knows what Cholla is. So this one is obviously purple. It's just a purple pearl blank. There's no other colors in it, at least that I'm aware of. I don't think there is. Way to let the democratic process play out. I thank you for appreciating my democratic process. All right, now this is a round blank. Let me talk here before I start. This is a round blank, so I don't have to take off any sharp edges. I don't have any like super bulky material to worry about. So I'm gonna start high speed with my square, just like I did the other one. And like you saw on the other one, I'm gonna turn the whole thing with the square. If you aren't comfortable turning the ends, you can always grab your finisher and finisher. But in this case, we're gonna go with the square. And that purple just flows off of there. It's gonna look like a Smurf blew up in here. And I'm turning 3,900 RPM. I'm still, you can tell from the ribbons, I'm still turning mostly resin. But those ribbons will start to break up, and then there'll be a little bit of dust and a little bit of wood chip. And there it is. Now I'm starting to hit Cholla. So you can probably see the pile is getting a little bit of a mixture. And as I get more and more into the Cholla, I won't have as big of ribbons. I'll have short little ribbons because it's only as long as it goes around. And the blank is looking pretty brown, which tells me there's a lot of wood here. So here's what we started with. That's our, whoop, there we go. That's our purple. And let's see if we got some good skeleton. Oh man, perfect. Boom, that's what we're after. That's like the perfect skeleton right there. Nice big voids with resin in there. Ooh, it's already smooth too. Feels like I just sanded it. So that's what we love. I'm gonna go a little further. I don't know. Oh, actually I can see some Cholla on the end here. So this one should look really cool once I get into it. All right, let's turn this pup. And you saw how quickly that went. Round blanks aren't always available, but when they are, sometimes it makes it a lot faster. I didn't time that, but I think it took like a minute to get it almost all the way down. So a couple of minutes here and we'll have this thing round and ready. And again, you could use negative rake, but you really don't need to on these because they are pretty stable. And they're not real brittle. Got a little vibration there. Alright, let's see how this looks. And I'm hand braking this thing over here. This lathe will spin and spin and spin. Oh, perfect. Okay, look at this. This looks awesome. So it's got some really cool, and this you just can't plan for. You gotta kind of get lucky. You got some real thin lines and then some real thick lines. And it's just probably I was on the edge of the Cholla when I drilled it. And that's, ooh, I need to talk about that here in a sec. But that's just luck of the draw of how you cast it and how you drill it. And it is pretty much almost ready. I'm going to turn down just a hair more, but let me talk about this so I don't forget. So when you have a Cholla blank, you want to make sure you drill as much center of the Cholla as you can. The Cholla is not always going to be in the center of the blank correctly. It might fall to one side. It may even skew, not intentionally, but when the person casts it, sometimes they skew, so you just can't get it straight, or you're going to cut along the side. But this one, let me see if I can show it. This blank you can see is round, and I'm skewed way that way of the blank. And what I did was I just drilled down the center of the skeleton I could see. So you always want to cut off your blank. So you can expose the cholla if your resin has gone over the end. You want to expose the cholla, cut it to length, and kind of eyeball each side and try to drill from that way. Now, had this blank been, or this cholla been at an angle, you could cut your top like this and try to skew it. It's a little challenging, but it works. But that's why this one is centered, or not centered, it's over to the side here. So this is much thinner than this, and that's because I wanted to center it up. And it's really worth trying to do that, because if you get half of a skeleton on it, it looks cool. But if you get a whole skeleton like this, it looks amazing. So this is going to be a killer pen. And here's the other thing. Hopefully you guys can see these little tiny black or purple lines. This resin under pressure got pushed into all the little cracks, and this looks so cool. It looks even better once it's got CA on it, but it looks so cool, all these little veins and lines through the wood. So this one is going to turn out really nice. This side is good. I just got to get a little bit on this end. You can hear that little bit of noise difference. That's where I went on to the bushing. So we are good. This one is gonna be done, ready for CA, sand and CA. And there's the purple. All right. So that's the cap. And now we're gonna turn the body. It is good if you can remember to, which I did not. It is good to mark where you cut, and what you can do is mark on the inside of the tube with a marker. That way you can match up the right spot, because this cap might go this way or this way or this way. I don't know. It won't look bad because of the way the pattern is random anyway, but sometimes they line up really perfectly, and it's a bummer that I didn't remember to do it. So just a pointer. So I'm going to guess, well, I'm not going to guess, I'm just going to pick an end. And what I'm looking at is I'm looking down at the blank to make sure when I put the bushing in that there's cholla all the way around the bushing. And that way I know when I turn it, there won't be any just like huge resin spots. So you can see all the way around there, it looks good. All right, Peter. Wait, dinner bell, it's like 4 o'clock. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so I always put, again, just preference, I don't know that it makes a bit of difference. I always put the bigger end on this side, on the headstock side. Probably more just for my brain, so I know which way my taper goes. If I mixed it up each time, it'd be hard to remember. So this is my big end of the junior, this is my narrow end of the junior. And it's just a very slight taper. All right, let's see how we can do this. You guys want that shot? So you can see it's out of wobble there. Here, let me slow it down. That's because that drilling in the center, or not in the center. So you see it there? Boop, 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 boop. Looks like a flat tire. That's because I drilled through the cholla, not in the center. All right, I'm gonna crank her up. Now, again, it is still round, even though it's out of round. It is still round, so I don't have to worry. So I'm going to go ahead and fire it all the way up. It's at 3,900. And it'll be round in no time. If you do make knives, we have some amazing cholla scales, knife scales. And that's a little trickier because you have to use bigger cholla and slice it just right for it to be flat, but it looks really cool. All right, see the blank turning brown from purple? That's the wood becoming exposed. Ah, it's smelling like wood. If you don't know what wood smells like, go smell a tree. All right, let's take a peek. This is always the best part because then you get to see what you got. Oh, not bad. Not bad at all. And I still have quite a bit more to turn here, so I think these bigger spots of purple are going to go away and we're going to get more skeleton. So it is looking pretty good. Hearing a little bit of a clicker. If you tuned in last week, I was talking about tapping. When the blank taps at you, sometimes that's a gap in the gluing on the tube. It sounded like I was hearing that. Let me see if I can feel anything. All I'm going to do is push and see if any of this is soft. Doesn't feel like anything's moving. Let me see what YouTube's got going on. Yeah, looks like you guys are having a good conversation on YouTube. It's awesome because everybody helps each other out, which is pretty good. What do you do? What do you call the pen that has a closed end? Closed end pen, actually, is just what it's called. Or if you're making all the parts, you can call it kitless, but or custom, depending on who you are. But yeah, you can do closed end. It's a little trickier. You need a way to hold it, and then you can turn it with the tailstock on, round it, get it shaped however you want, and then remove the tailstock and just go from there. Let's see what this looks like here. I didn't wet the other one. Pretty brilliant. It's a nice contrast, the dark purple. The dark purple with the Cholla. Now I didn't paint the tubes on these. I didn't mention it. Actually, in the other one, in the Zen, I used the silver tube because that's the first one I found. But typically I do paint the tubes because even an opaque color, once you get it so thin, you know, you can see it. Sometimes you don't want that brass shining through. This was a dark purple, and I didn't want to take the time to paint it because I was drilling it fairly quickly and tubing it up. But normally I would. All right, we'll see you, Michael. Can acrylic or resin be turned with traditional tools? 100% yes. Carbide is awesome and it works great, but if you have traditional, by all means you can use them and you should use them. Just make sure you sharpen them. I can't tell you how many times in our store people come in and they're like, I blew up my blank, I blew up this, I did this. And we say, what kind of tools are you using? Oh, I'm using steel. Okay, no problem. How often do you sharpen? And they're like, what do you mean sharpen? So they're essentially turning with a butter knife, because usually they're low-end tools which get dull faster. So they're lower-end tools that get dull faster, and then they never sharpen them, so they're really dull. But even if you buy a high-end, expensive, like M42 steel tool, you gotta sharpen it regularly. Like, during a pen, you'd probably sharpen it 2 or 3, 4 times, depending on the pen and the blank. But you gotta sharpen it. But yeah, I'll do a video in the near future where all we use is traditional tools for pen turning, because there is like a thing where everybody thinks that you can only turn pens and small stuff with carbide, which I'm sure like Easywood loves, and that's great, you know, for us selling it, but it's not the truth. There's a ton of great carbide or traditional tools out there that work perfect. Tim that works here that you guys have seen turn on the Turner's TV channel. We have another channel, Turner's TV. He uses pretty much all traditional tools. He loves the Record power tools from England that we have. They're awesome steel and they stay sharp nicely. So he'll show you that. And we are going to do, not to go on and on about what we're going to do, but we are going to do a sharpening episode too. So if you guys have questions on sharpening, we're going to cover traditional steel, all the different types of tools, as well as sharpening your carbide inserts that can be sharpened. So that'll be coming up soon. All right, let's finish this guy. And then we could do the CA, which is actually fun because you get to see what it looks like. Forgot to turn off the bell. I pretty much do that every week, huh? I think I did it last week too. I think somebody's just leaving. Alright, so I got my taper looking good here. Taking a little meat out of this. I'm not a guy who likes the thick pen, thick body, so I'm flattening it out a little bit. A little more boring in the middle here. Alright, it's looking pretty good. All right, that is looking cool. So it's really a weird piece. We saw the same thing in the cap, really heavy veins on this side and then really thin lines on this side. So it must have just been the spot of the tube I drilled, or the spot of the Cholla I drilled. So what's cool is when I go to put the pen together, I can kind of line up these thin spots and then line up the bigger side, and you can see how that'll look together. So it still looks like it totally matches. I mean, it does. And let's be honest, I could probably figure out if it was... No, actually, I think I had it right the first time. That looks pretty close. Actually, I think that lines up. Look at that. Because you got that little guy there, then that one, and that one. I don't know. Anyway, looks like it's good. So these are ready for sanding and polishing. Now I'm gonna do a real good job here of blowing this off. I just don't want a bunch of stuff falling in my water. I did that last week. I got my new water tub. I like to have the water under the tube, that way I can keep it wet. Should have refilled it, but there's enough. All right. So I'm gonna start with the Zen. In case everybody bails on me, we'll do this one first. All right. Now this is gonna look really cool. The trick will be, because of our time constraints, I'm not going to sand this with water. Normally I would sand it with water, set it aside, come back to it and do the CA. Because you got to make sure it dries. If you have any water under the CA, it's not going to work. But I want to show you guys the finish here. So we'll do this one. And I'm gonna dry sand it, even though I'm totally against dry sanding most of the time. I think the water just makes it look better, especially since we have resin in here. It's going to need that water. It's going to need the water to give it the shine. So I'm going to get these edges real quick. And of course you can turn on the lathe and do the edges. I wouldn't want to run the lathe and sand with my sandpaper this way, because I would put a lot of scratches in. And this coming off, especially a fresh carbide, but any carbide, is pretty smooth. I mean, it feels like I already sanded it. I'm just getting out any little imperfections or anything I might have left with my tool. And I'm just going back and forth here. And if I saw a spot I really needed to fix, I could. All right. Let me go grab the air. So I can do the top. Turn on the pump. All right. I'm back. Whoa, that's not what you're supposed to do. Don't forget there's water below. Dry. Well, so much for not getting it wet, right? Oh boy. Well, what I can do is turn this on and just kind of block the air. This will dry it pretty quick. I didn't get a lot of water on it, but I did splash it. Now I just want to look at it and see if I have any spots. The CA will really even it up if I do have any low spots or anything, but I mean, this feels really, really smooth, so it's pretty close to being ready to go. So I'm going to apply a CA finish. Now if you haven't done a CA finish before, it's not a huge difficult thing. But when you're first starting them, they seem much harder than they are in reality. Especially once you've done a few, it's really not bad. I have another video on here from last year. It's like a 5-minute CA finishing video. I definitely would go watch it because it came out really good, and it's live. What am I trying to say? It's actual time. So a CA finish shouldn't take you half an hour, and it shouldn't be 37 coats of CA. You just don't need it. So I would check that out. We're going to get this about 700. Close enough. Okay. Very simple. I just fold up a paper towel and I hold it. I don't wear gloves, and I don't put bags on my hands. You can. I do occasionally glue this paper towel to my fingers, but so far so good. Do wear your eyes in case you splash yourself. Alright, so I'm using Flex CA. I've got a thin and a medium. If you're just going to do one, get the medium. If you want to get both because I like to do a thin first coat, and I just apply it to the paper towel, put it on there. I usually go across like twice and stop. And what you'll see is it looks like a CA finished pen, although it's just one coat, but look how nice and shiny it is. I let the thin, I let it sit on there a minute turning real slow before I spray it. Mercury Flex, you gotta spray it with Accelerator to activate it and finish it. But I like the thin to try to soak in. Now, obviously it's not gonna soak in on the resin. It's not gonna soak in very much on the Cholla because the Cholla is pretty dense, but we'll give it a little opportunity. Now I'm doing medium. I usually do four or five coats. I can use the same paper towel. I just don't want to use this spot where I did the thin. I'll just go to right here. So I'll just put a thin line. And I want to go across and spread it out. And that's it. There's two things I don't want to do. I don't want to put it on and then squeegee it all off with pressure. And I don't want to push it all to the end to where my ends have these bulbs of CA. Although it can happen even if you're careful. Wait, I'm going to need that. And then let it sit a sec, spray it. If your towel's hard, you can flip it around and use it, but I mean, don't be afraid of using a whole paper towel, it doesn't matter. Then line, apply, back and forth, that's it. I do occasionally kind of tap the corners here just to make sure I don't have any buildup, which I don't see any. And I'm still between centers here. I could have put a mandrel on and used HDPE bushings, which does work nicely. But since I was TBC turning, I already had my live center and my dead center. I'm just going to keep that. And it works really well. If I stop it, I've accelerated this. I can touch it and it shouldn't be sticky or tacky or anything. And it actually feels pretty smooth. And I just want to look at my ends and make sure they're coated well and I don't have big bulbs of CA on the end. So I'm going to get a new piece. I usually break these into thirds, but it doesn't matter. I always say when you're done with your CA finish, it should almost have like a little bit of an orange peel feel. Like the way the orange peel has a little texture. And that's how I know I've got a good buildup. And that's just from spraying, applying, spraying, applying. But I mean, you can't really add too much. You can kind of overdo it unnecessarily, but it won't hurt it. But I mean, if you add more, it doesn't matter. All right. Again, I'm going to touch the corners, and I'm not touching the blank, I'm just getting into the very corner here. So I'm going to spray it, turn it off, let's see where we're at. Alright, so it looks pretty cool. It does have a little like textured look, almost like an orange peel, which is what I'm after. Let's see if this is any better. You might be able to see, like in the shine, it'll be broken up a little bit, it'll have little waves. That's the texture I'm talking about. So we'll do one more because we've got the paper here. It won't hurt it. So I'm going to do one more line here. Coat it. Tap it. Alright. Anybody still watching? It's funny because I get going and I forget. Alright. Looks like YouTube is chatting it up, which is awesome. You guys should definitely keep that going. So, last one here, I guess. Oh, I forgot to spray. There was probably enough Accelerator on there. Get that corner. And again, I'm pushing very lightly. So this last one I hit it twice with Accelerator because hopefully that's all I need. And I let this spin a minute. I'm going to up the speed. I let it spin a minute. Probably doesn't do a thing, but that's what I do. Feels good. It doesn't feel sticky or tacky. If it feels sticky or tacky, give it another minute or a little more accelerator. But I'm going to lower this again. All right, now let's do some sanding. So I'll do about 800, 900. And I'm sanding with my fingers. This is 800 grit, wet. And I'm gonna try to keep my fingers really flat and smooth and just go across. All I wanna do is, remember the orange peel? I just wanna sand the orange peel flat. It will look matte, not shiny. I wanna sand it flat and then stop. If I keep going, I'll sand through the CA for sure. But the trick is to keep it moving, keep it wet, and you'll actually feel it under your fingers. Oh, did I do that? I must have bumped or played with the lever. You'll feel it smooth out really quickly under your fingers. I'm feeling it right now. There we go. So, here's how you test it. This is a good way to do it. Overhead. So this is wet, right? So you see it's all shiny. If I dry it, there's a lot of little shiny spots. Maybe you can see them. The shiny spots are the low spots of the CA. So imagine if the surface was like this. I just sanded up here. This spot down here didn't get any sandpaper. It's below, so it stayed shiny because I didn't touch it with sandpaper. Now what I want to do is with my wet sandpaper, sand this way. And what this will do is usually it'll level it out, it'll smooth it out, and then you don't risk sanding through your CA while it's running. Because you got to imagine like 800 RPM versus like 20 RPM here of my hand moving. This works a lot easier. So that is looking pretty good. And what I can do is just, oh, there we go. So hopefully the camera will show this. I don't know if it will. But I dried it off with my hand there, and the whole tube looks matte finished, which is exactly what I want. There's not shiny spots. It's all just matte finish. Well, now it's wet, but you get the point. So it's matte, meaning I got it flat, and now I can Zona it. So this is ready to be polished. That's it. Do not keep sanding. If you keep sanding, oh, hold on. I got one little spot I can see. If you keep sanding, you'll sand through the CA, and what your blank will look like, and you've probably done this if you're ever CA'd finished. We've all done it. Your blank will have really amazing shiny, and then it'll just have a dull spot, and then it'll be shiny again. And you're like, why did it do that? You sanded through the CA on that spot. I'm using Zona paper. This is from last week. I didn't get rid of it. Zona paper, which way should I hold it? That way. Is a 6 paper system of polishing. It goes from coarse to fine, 30 micron to 1 micron. You just proceed through the colors here to get your best finish. Typically, when I use Zona paper, I don't use anything else. I don't do Zona and then buff it. I don't use Zona and then do a car polish. I just use Zona, and it is shiny and awesome. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to keep it about the same speed. And there again, you want to keep this really wet. I'll try to hold underneath so y'all can see it. All right, we still got a few people watching, it looks like. All right. And the Zona paper, it's a 3M product, which 3M generally makes some good stuff. There's nothing wrong with micromesh or anything else, but micromesh are 9 pads, these are 6, so if I can save 3 steps and still get a quality or better quality in some cases, I'm going to do it, just so I have less to do. So I'm just going to keep it, I keep dipping it. 1, I'm rinsing off the dust, the wet dust, and 2, I'm keeping my blank polished and wet. Are you leaving?
Yeah.
You want to see?
Yeah, let's see.
I'm on the overhead, so you're not in this frame, unless you want to be.
Now we're good.
Hold on, let's get a live reaction. You gotta go, ooh.
Ooh,
Go like this.
ooh.
Yeah, wow,
Oh
right?
my gosh.
Hold on, let's do it again.
What color is it?
Okay, pretend like you just walked up again.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
Diana's gonna come in for a quick reactionary shot. Okay, ready?
Oh my gosh, this is awesome.
Nailed it.
Love it. What color?
Actually, it looks cool, right?
It does look really cool. Is this for Zen?
It's a Zen, yep.
Nice. That turned out really well.
What great acting. Were you an actor ever?
I'm a mom. You have to really act like you care.
Is it
about
like when
something.
your kids make crafts and you're like, wow, that is really great.
Or they're like
in your
playing
head, you're
this-
like, what a piece of crap.
Or they play an instrument, or you're in a play, you're like, that is the best thing I've ever seen.
You are so good.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for that mom reaction. That was great.
You're welcome.
See you next time.
Yep.
I hope you guys loved that real reaction Diana had to the
100%.
blank. Too funny. Too funny. All right, so back to it. I'm using the green. Trying not to get my switcher wet here. That's the problem. Everything gets dusty and wet in the shop. Okay, back to it. If anyone's still paying attention after all that, I'm just doing the Zona. I got the green here. Typically, you start and do longer. Or at least I do, with the green and then the blue or black, whatever it is. I guess this is black. I just like to get them really, really, really polished up. And I am putting a little pressure on it here, whereas before, when I was sanding, I was barely putting any pressure because I didn't want to sand through it. Now, I really want to get that polished, so I'm pushing on it and kind of just resting my finger weight on it. All right, this is looking good. And I want to show you here. So we're 2 pads in, or 2 grits in. Now I won't do this with a towel, especially a dirty towel at the end, but I want to show you 2 towels in, you can see the level of shine. There is actually some shine here, but wait till the end when we get to the final, it's going to really be shiny. Yes, you can use Zona on any acrylic or CA finish or hybrid. I use it on anything acrylic or cast. Forget something?
I think I forgot my glasses.
Diana's back.
So that you know.
Yeah, any acrylic, anything. I mean, you can use it on wood. It just won't, I mean, wood can only get so polished, so really it's kind of, at some point it just doesn't do anything else, I guess. But you can always put CA on wood, do a thin CA on wood, sand it off all the way through, and then if you like a friction polish or an oil polish so you can still feel the wood, the CA that you put on, the thin CA, will get into the grain and it'll essentially fill the grain, seal the grain. And when you Zona it then, it's a lot shinier and smoother because you filled the grain. Oh, go back here. See ya, take 2. All right. We're halfway through here. We got 3 down, 3 to go. And you can probably already see, I mean, I know it's wet, but the reflection, you can tell usually when you're doing this, that the reflection is getting stronger and stronger. Yep, looking good. All right, so we're down to our last 2. The blue and the white, they are the finest. I think it was 5 micron and 1 micron, which at 1 micron, this white one, I mean, it's almost hard to tell which side is which. The only saving grace is that the back side has like a texture to it because it's like a meshy type material, so you can feel it that way. But I mean, I don't know how long I've been talking about this finish here. I keep stopping it to show you guys, but I mean, you can do a CA finish, like a really nice premium CA finish, in 5 minutes or less. Maybe we'll time the next one. We'll time when I do, and I'm talking a tube. Obviously a 2-piece pen would take you longer, but this one I could have done in 5 minutes if I stopped yapping and stopping the lathe. But that's the point. All right, so now I'm kind of like really holding the white here, and I'm gonna keep it wet. And you guys are probably seeing a bunch of debris in my water here. You want to keep your water clean. It's not good to polish with dirty water, but I knocked some stuff in here right away and then I don't want to go refill it while you guys wait. But keep your water clean for sure. Do as I do, not as I say, kind of a thing. All right, so now I'm just giving it a final kind of push here. And obviously if you see any spots when you stop, you can keep going. But let's see how it looks. Oh, this is looking good. Okay. You saw the water kind of wick off of it there. I'm going to dry it. I'm going to pat it. I'm not going to like spin the lathe on it because essentially that 1 micron pad is softer than this paper towel by who knows how much. But it's habit to be like, so this thing, oh, got some water on the end there. This thing looks awesome. So let me see if I can get a side view here. So you can kind of see the reflection shows your CA. So if I had scratches in there, this is a good way to see them, and then you can go back and fix them, or not, it's up to you. But this thing is pretty clean, and that was a relatively quick CA finish, I would say. So pretty happy with that. So let's do one more, if anyone is still around. Can somebody time it? I lost the other tubes. I wonder where they went. That's weird. Are they right in front of my face? I haven't gone anywhere. You guys have seen. Usually I put them in my pockets, but. Wow. Do we have a ghost in here? Does anyone see those tubes? I mean, I just turned them and just set them over here. I mean, they're both gone. What the heck? Wow, this is weird. What a weird thing to happen live. Check my pockets. Okay, guys, I'm very weirded out here. I set those tubes over here, didn't I? The bushings are over here. How could the tubes be gone? Did Diana steal the tubes when she was standing here? How funny. Oh my goodness. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Because I turned 2 other tubes here a minute ago, and they are gone. Oh, jeez. They're right there. Laying next to the computer. Okay. Restart. Yeah, no one's ever lost anything in the shop before, right? Woo, losing my mind here. It's been a long week and it's only Thursday. All right. So if anyone wants to time, we could kind of see how long this takes. I would say give it a start. I'll continue to tell you what I'm doing, but I'll try to move through it rather than... Well, shoot. Losing everything today. I was looking for some sandpaper. I had a sheet here with me and I... Probably next to the tubes, right? Just dry this off. Alright, so ready to go. So I'm just sanding this like I talked about before. I guess I could time it. And I want to get it flat. I want to get my tool marks out, but I'm not going to go crazy here. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and use water slowly because that'll help me speed up, and then I can dry it off with the air. So when you're doing this, you know, keep it wet, keep it slow, keep it moving. Turn it off and go horizontally. Otherwise you'll have those rings in your blank. Oh, and we are tomorrow we're doing the giveaway. I forgot to do it last week because it was something new and I just forgot. And what we're going to do is we did, you stated a color, you picked a color. We're going to draw the color. Whoever picked that color, we're going to put your name on the spinny wheel and do a prize. So if you guys want to pick a color right now, red, blue, or white, red, white, or blue, just drop it in the comments. We'll do our best to get everybody that says that color. Please bear with us because, you know, we're trying to get your orders out quickly, so if we miss you, it's not on purpose, it's just bad luck, I guess. All right. Let's see what we got here. Thin CA. First coat, a little faster. Thin. I'm going to let it soak. I just flipped it around. I'm going to kind of wipe off the excess on the end here. Ooh. All right, we got a bunch of colors getting shouted out. Good. Remember Thin Flex? I like Thin Flex because regular CA, I got to keep working while I'm talking. Regular CA messes up my eyes if I don't have fans blowing and all kinds of stuff. So obviously I couldn't have fans blowing and talk at the same time here. So I use Flex. It still has a scent, don't get me wrong, but it's much better. A little noob here. It's much better and it's not as strong. At least I think so. So I like Flex for that reason. The other reason is it's made to be a finish, so it's not brittle like regular CA. I've had a lot of people say, you know, why do my pens crack over time? It could be that they got, ooh. See, there you go. Example of the CA getting through and burning my skin. I probably had some, oh yeah, it's already cured. I probably had some activator on my finger. But CA Flex CA definitely is less brittle than regular CA. So that's why I use it. All right, we're cruising here. We've got some prizes. We got some Turner's Warehouse gear, some pocket knives, some hats, some shirts. So we'll give a few things away tomorrow. So look for the live stream. It'll be on Facebook. So if you're on YouTube, thank you. But definitely like the Turner's Warehouse Facebook page, because that's where we'll do the drawing tomorrow. But we'll notify you if we can. We'll try to find you. All right, so I think that's 4 or 5 coats. That's good. All right, now I'm going to sand. Well, let me see. Make sure it's not sticky. Feels good. So I'm at 800. I'm going to sand it flat. And remember, I'm just feeling for that orange peel to flatten out. If I got any spots, I can obviously just work that spot rather than sand more on the whole blank. Man, I feel like it's taking forever. It's already been 5 minutes, hasn't it? Super slow. Feels pretty good. All right, I'm gonna up it a little bit, couple hundred RPM. Green. Remember, keep it wet, keep it moving. The beauty is I don't think anybody cares how long it takes. All right. So while we do this, I can kind of see my the Facebook chat. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? There's my green. Oh, finger cramp. Anybody ever get that when you're polishing a pen? Number 2, black here. It's so funny when I see Scott Schammel post, because Schammel and Schimmel are so close. Just one letter there. I guess one letter and one extra M for me. But it still reminds me. Let's see. What's, you know what we should do? Let me change this. So we'll do last week's, we'll stick to the color thing because it might be hard to do 2 weeks all in one. So for this week, go to the Turner's Warehouse Facebook page, and on this live stream post, post a picture of something you've made recently. And we will, that way we can look for pictures. We'll pick everybody who makes a picture, and we'll draw a couple names for, or post a picture. We'll draw a couple names for some prizes. So if you're on YouTube, remember the YouTube chat goes away when I end it, I believe. So go to Facebook, Turner's Warehouse, and post something. If you don't have something you've made recently, post something older you've made, just so we know what's up. All right, I'm taking way too long here, huh? Almost done. Let's see what that says. Can't see, it's too far. I need a bigger screen, I guess. Ah, finger's cramping up on that side. It's getting hot here already. So this is my white. This is the one I kind of give it a little squeeze. What am I at? I think I'm at 7 minutes, 7 or so. So it took me longer than 5 minutes, but I'm not in the groove. All right, I like to turn it off. Go some horizontal. Look at that speed. Repetitions here. All right. Off the ends. Okay, what do you think? See if I see any scratches. I see water. Makes it look like scratches, huh? That looks pretty good, if I do say so myself. It's so great because then it's so smooth. You don't lose anything with the two materials. It doesn't feel like a different material. It's just one shiny piece. So hopefully that's coming across. I'll leave that here for you to look at for a sec. Let me see if I can, any questions I can answer on the other chat. All right. Rick, no wrong way to hold your carbide, really. I mean, unless you're holding it upside down. Whatever works for you. I tend to hold it a lot like a skew, so I get a little more control that way. But you can hold it like a scraper or however you feel comfortable. Eric says he's turned Greg's blanks. Yes, they do turn awesome. I would agree with you. Alright, Ted Weddle. Thanks for coming in, Ted. Well, I don't see any real questions, but do let me know if there are any. 8:20 for time, so still slow. Still slower than I wanted, but not terrible, I guess. I mean, when I'm in the groove, I can fly through these things pretty good. But I haven't been doing a lot of CA finishes the last few months, so that's probably why. Just post a picture on your page. Yeah, under this post, like the live stream post, just make a comment with a picture or something. It's cool. We'll figure out some way to do it, guys. So if you're around tomorrow and you want to jump on, we'll find a way to try to get people in the drawing. If you think of a good way for me to do a giveaway, let me know, because I don't have any good ideas for that. All right. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Let me see. I'm just going to see if I can catch anything here. Man, that was weird when I couldn't find those blanks. It was like they were right in front of me, but they were just next to the computer blending in, I guess. Let's see. Anything else? Anything else? Yeah, somebody said something about marking the Zona. It is a good idea. You can flip them over and kind of stagger them and make lines on the back, like 1 or 2 or 3 lines. Or you can number them, and that way you know which side is the back and which number is what. I tend to just keep them stacked in order, so that's how I know. But if they blow on the floor and they're out of order, I don't use them anyway, because once they hit the floor, I consider them garbage. I don't really want to polish something with something that's been on the floor and dirty. Yep, use Zona for everything. All acrylic, it works awesome. If you guys have any requests for live streams, let me know. It doesn't have to be pen making. It can be any kind of turning, any kind of making. Like I said, we've got planned. Tim is going to do a bowl video, maybe as early as next week or the week after. We're going to do a skew video. We're going to do, in the near future, we're going to do some handles and bottle stopper type stuff with the threaded insert. That's really cool. But if you have requests, throw them our way. Probably the coolest thing would be to email me at turnerswarehouse1@gmail.com, because that's where I see everything the easiest. There's so many different, like with Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, there's so many different places that you can post that it's hard for me to watch them all, so I don't always see them timely. But any requests, let me know and we will get them up, because hopefully this is like worth watching and entertaining. All right. Salt grinder. Actually, pepper grinder, salt grinder would be a good one. Let me get that working. Yeah, we'll do that. And actually, there's 2 types that we have that are real popular. The thumb press, which I like making the best because they're kind of fun, and then there's the twist top. So we could do those for sure. That'd be a good one. That'd be a fun turning one too. And that's really all I've got today. If you are into casting, this was kind of a casting or a cast blank thing. We do have our weekly special going, and there are still some left, which a lot of times by Thursday we don't have any left. There are still a couple left. They are a casting set with liquid diamonds and mica, so you can check that out. And I guess that's it. I'll see you guys next week. Tim, thanks. He said, great demo. I need to go get a Cholla blank. Charles, you missed it again. Yeah, if you want, oh, I guess I should mention that. If you want Cholla blanks, we have several on our site. Just put in Cholla in the search bar. That's the easiest way to find them. It'll pull up whether I made them, Greg made them, or somebody else made them. It'll pull it up. It's Cholla, Cholla, or Chula, however it sounds. That's how it's spelled, Cholla. But Cholla is a really cool wood. It's probably not as cool on the camera as it is in person. And I'm telling you, when I was selling at shows, Cholla was one of my top sellers by far. And I put it on everything. I put it on capped pens, single body pens, Zen type with the long blank. Sometimes I would cut the Cholla in half and have a gap in the middle of the resin and Cholla on each end. It looked really cool. You can do Cholla as accents. So like if you do segmenting, like Gissy style segmenting, you can use Cholla on the segments. It looks killer. So don't be afraid to cut them up too. But they look great. But all right, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thanks guys, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later. I gotta go turn it off now.